Hey, y'all, hey. Hey. Let's chat real quick. It's not a car chat, it's like a bathroom chat. While I put some flexi rods in my hair, okay? Okay, let's chat. It's a lot going on this week. It's the last few weeks. And I came to give my 2 cents. Well, it's more like my 2 nickels or my 2 dimes or my 2 quarters. My $2 pieces, but you know. My 2 50-cent pieces, my 2 Sacagawea coins, but you know. Anyways, just came to get my little 2 quarters about it all. So, I guess we got the Dahmer situation. Ime Buboka, I don't know how the freak he pronounces his name. What else has been going on, y'all? What else is happening? I don't know. I saw some videos with y'all president just looking crazy. I don't understand why they haven't replaced him yet or told him to step down because of his obvious dementia. Who knows? You know, the world gets crazier and crazier every day. And that's why I had to write this stuff down, because I know it was more to talk about other than just my Umi said, shine your light on the world. Shine your light for the world to see. Why is it only curls at the end of my hair and all the other curls fell? Anyways, it's raining outside, y'all, and I love a rainy night. I love a rainy night or day when you ain't got to go nowhere. So let's start with the Ime Udoka, because I don't really have much to say. I mean, that's them people business. He was doing what he was doing. I don't care how many people break the rules. I don't care how many people. It's just like, we all know it's a law that you gotta, I guess in most states, in all states, you gotta ride with your seatbelt on, right? A lot of people don't ride with their seatbelt on. But when you get pulled over and get a ticket, what are you gonna say? Nobody else rides with a seatbelt on. It doesn't matter. Like, the law is on the books. The rules is in the books. So you break them at your own discretion. And when you break them, you got to deal with the punishment. So, like everything else, I'm sure politics are involved, whether that be race politics, classism politics, social politics, as far as who likes who. Most of the things in this world is not all about your merit and your talent, although that will get you far. But a lot of things are about the politics, who likes you and who you know. And that really seems to be what is taking precedent in this Ime Buboka situation. Udoka. I don't care to pronounce it correctly, honestly. But and he's a Leo. I mean, who's a bigger pimp than a Leo? Who has more of a stable than a Leo? I don't know. Somebody had to tell me a sign. You had to tell me a sign. A Scorpio, maybe? And what's really funny is a lot of the couples, like, just through my studies of astrology, I observe people a lot because they prove or disprove my astrological thesis and hypotheses and all that kind of stuff. Because I always say the best examples are the real world, not what you read in a book. And not always what you read in a book is exact science when it comes to astrology. And just in people I've observed in real life, one of the 2 signs that I see the most, like over and over again, in open relationships. So, like relationships where both partners know and have agreed to be in an open relationship, are Leos and Scorpios. I see it all of the time. Like, other signs might sign on for the ride, or maybe it's a situation where they think they're the only partner or something like that. But when I see like couples who acknowledge and admit that they're in an open relationship, have seen it with Scorpios and Leos so many times. And I could name some examples, but I'm not going to do that because some of the examples that I know are kind of popular in that quote unquote, I don't want to say conscious world, but just kind of social media popular. And I don't feel like getting all into them. that's really irrelevant and besides the point. But I've seen it over and over again. So Leos are definitely one of the biggest pimps of the zodiac. He wasn't doing nothing but running his stable that Nia is the bottom bitch of. And that's that. Like, what are we to do? He knew what he was doing. He knows the rules. Just like any other business, there are certain things when you get to a certain level, which I don't expect a lot of people to know. And that's why when people, it's so easy to get on social media and grab a mic or a camera and record videos, but it's very important to distinguish people's opinions from facts. A lot of people that's out here giving their opinion, pushing it off as advice or life coaching or guidance, they never even have been in the situations or to know what they're talking about. So a lot of people who give you relationship advice, they've never been in a relationship. You know what I mean? Or relationships. People who talk about this Ume Udoka situation, they've never been in a position of leadership. You know what I'm saying? And want to critique and criticize how the Celtics run their organization, which you have to understand. It's an organization. You guys know the country we live in. We're living in America. So you know all the politics that are involved, whether it be your job, just like I said, things socially, economically. There's always race politics involved. There's always classism politics involved. I don't, or should I say socioeconomic, right? Nothing is ever just you present yourself and your talent and what you can do, and there's not politics involved. I mean, you can do something the best. Maybe you're the best person in the world to do it. But until you run your own thing or you get to a level where you're controlling your own thing, as long as you're working for somebody else in corporate America, they have the ability to not value or recognize your talent or promote you if they like somebody else better. Maybe they have a family member that needs a job that they're going to give the position. So everything in life is politics. And I don't know why people, every time a scandal comes up or something happens, people seem to forget that. So, of course, race could play a part. A lot of people are complaining about why hasn't the woman's identity been released and things like that. And I had a feeling, I told my girlfriend, I hope they don't try to Me Too him. Because it sounded like this was the direction it was going in. But I said, anytime you slept with somebody, I don't care if it was if it was one time, if it was for a week, it was for a month. At no point do I want to hear sexual assault. I just don't want to hear it. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to hear it because you did it voluntarily. And then when everything goes bad, I don't want to hear the sexual assault word. I don't want to hear the R word. Oh, Rizza Islam. Let's put him on the list. Pisces. I don't want to hear the rape or nothing like that. I don't want to hear it if you've consensually been carrying on a relationship with somebody. Now, it's a different story if she wants to say harassment because he wouldn't leave her alone or whatever the case. That could be a valid claim. But I don't want to hear the Me Too movement on the guy. Is he out of order? Yeah. Did he break the rules? Yeah. Should he pay the consequences? Yeah. And that's just that. That's just that. And you could say, well, people get away with things. People do this all the time. Like I said, go not wear your seatbelt and get pulled over and tell a police officer people ride around without their seatbelts all the time. Your ass still gonna have to pay your ticket because that's what matters. Not what people do all the time. It matters what you do all the time. So, it sounds to me like he was running a stable. And if them women laid down and slept with that man, it is what it is. But as far as Ime Udoka goes, this is the issue with him. And this is where you put yourself, and because of the politics, race politics, social, economic politics, or whatever, you put yourself in a position. Let me go back to the seatbelt example. You know what also not wearing your seatbelt could be an excuse for and can lead to? Search and seizure, illegal search and seizure. You look like you got drugs in the car. You're not wearing a seatbelt. I think I smell drugs. Can I search your car, please? You see what I'm saying? Like certain things you set yourself up to head down a path, and certain things you just can't do because of who you are. Whether you can't do them because of race politics and the fact that you're black, Chinese, or anything else, or you can't do them because maybe your economic status or class, or you can't do them because of the position you hold at a job. It just is what it is, and personal accountability is everything. You know what I'm saying? We all make mistakes. You just have to suck it up, buttercup, and say, I fucked up. Do better next time, and hopefully you get another job. I don't think it's going to be within the NBA, but, I'm going to say, good luck to the man, whatever the case. But when you are in a position of authority, again, most people don't know about that. But me personally, in my career, I've been in a position of authority for over 10 years. Over 10 years. I have people, when I've been in that position, I have people who they don't like how you do what you do. They might throw a fit with you. They might treat you a certain way or display certain behaviors. But you know what I could never do? Stoop to that level and do the things they do. Because as a superior, as someone higher in the ranks, you're held to a different standard. And that's just point blank period. And I'm sure the Celtics organization is no different. As a matter of fact, they're probably more stringent than your regular corporate 9-to-5 companies. And I understand a lot of people wouldn't know because they've never been in a position of authority. But once you rise in the ranks, there are certain things that you just cannot do. And there are certain things that are expected of you. Now, make no mistake, everybody still does those things, right? But actually they don't. Actually, they don't, because some people have common sense and decency, and they value all that they gained in their life. But most people in the world are like stupid. Like, I think I saw a short going around where Erykah Badu was relating, I don't know if it was philosophy or fact, but she was basically talking about how she had read, I think it was some author who was saying like 75% of the world, of the population, are followers. 10% are leaders, and like the 5% are the observers. So most people in the world are just like walking zombies, stupid. They're the followers. They're going to follow whoever is that 10% that are leading. You know what I'm saying? So not everybody is a leader. I know most of you all, most people giving opinions and everything else on this are followers. So if you've never been in a position of leadership, if you aren't a person strong in values of accountability and discipline, then you wouldn't understand why it's such a big deal what he was doing and why he's in the position he's in. And then what makes it even worse for him personally is that, and his team, is that you let your team down and you're actually good at what you do. You seem to be great at what you do, headed to be one of the great coaches, going from here on out into the game. He probably would have went down in the records as one of the greats as far as coaches go. And I mean, the Boston Celtics is one of the best teams of all time. So it's just unfortunate that people don't understand when you make it to a certain level in life, you are held to a certain standard. And that's just how the world operates. You know what I mean? So that's the whole Ime Udoka thing. Let's move on to the Rizza Islam thing, and then I'm going to do Jeffrey Dahmer. I was very disappointed to hear what's happening with Rizza Islam, and it's a tricky situation, right? It's a tricky situation, number one, because he isn't married. And Rizza is kind of fine, y'all. I don't know when he get to dancing and shit like a crackhead Pisces. You know them mutable signs. They all have been on Ritalin at some point in their life. Sagittarius, Gemini, Virgo, and Pisces. They all like Ritalin kids. God damn it. Like, oh my God. Speaking of serial killers, they say a lot of the prominent serial killers were all mutable signs. Because we're going to talk about Jeffrey Dahmer for a second. But getting back to what I was saying, Rizza is a cute. He ain't fine, but his intelligence kind of puts him to the level of fine. He's like a nice looking guy, but because of his intelligence, his height, his build, and all of that, his authoritative his authoritativeness. You know how religion just put a little oomph on you, you know what I mean? When you walking around in suits and ties and shit, it make you seem like you got it together. But y'all know, we know, like, most people in religion just don't be having it together. I need to get some smaller flexi rods because I want my curls to come out real tight so they have all day to fall. But if I wanted to do that, maybe I should put something on my hair so that these curls stay, because I'm like rolling them up with nothing in this hair. Anyway, so Rizza is a nice looking man. You always know when somebody's character just seems too good to be true. My phone it's on low battery, so the screen keep going on. I hope it's recording, because I'm about to be done with this. I got to get this done in the next 10 minutes because I'm on my last 2 rollers. I'm not fitting to be talking to y'all when I'm done, because I got other stuff to do. So anyway, I'm going to put some mousse on. I don't want to put no mousse. Mousse make your hair hard. What's a mousse, y'all, that don't dry your hair out? I got some Cream of Nature Argan Oil mousse, but I don't think I ever noticed a big deal with that not drying my hair out. Maybe I'll just spray some Oil Sheen and some Lotta Body. Some Lotta Body on this thing and hope that'll give it some hold. I don't know. Anyway, so Rizza is a nice looking guy, but you always know when somebody seems too perfect, something's going on, because none of us are perfect. So not to say that it has to be something bad, but we all have our things that happen in our real lives. You know what I mean? Some level of, I don't even want to call it drama, just everyday life to life stuff. So, and I've never really, other than what Rizza is going through with the legal stuff, which is neither here nor there. Y'all motherfuckers act like it's such a big deal if somebody's scamming. Fuck you, I mean, man, I'm gonna say that because I don't know who be stuck listening to my videos, because you know people be spying. But why y'all mad? Because they allegedly scammed the government. Why y'all mad for? What you mad for? Okay, so moving on. That don't really make me say, oh, he's such a terrible person or whatever the case. We all have our indiscretions. Nobody's perfect. Laws are on the books because some men were sitting somewhere in a room and made them up. But just because something is a law on the books don't mean it's morally right, the morally right thing to do. And that don't mean that I have a human responsibility or a human obligation to follow your rules. Rules are made in the soul and with your morality and your value. There's a difference between laws that is on the books and the laws of life, the way of the world. And those are the laws that people have to follow. You know what I'm saying? Them laws on the books, I mean, you got to follow them to navigate what's going on down here. But if you smart enough, you get what I'm saying. So anyway, you know, you got to get through this game by hook or crook. You know, anybody that's done made it to the top done been a criminal at some point. You can't tell me no different. Depending on what you consider a criminal, I guess, by definition of their law books, right? So, that case going on, whatever the case. So now, Farrakhan's tapes was released, which I appreciate Farrakhan's viewpoint on it, because I think it was a very valid viewpoint, and I think it's unfortunate, like, Rizza, if you was going to do that, why you ain't wait till you was married? It wouldn't have sounded, I don't think it would have sounded as bad to people had it been your wife. Because I don't know if I'm one of them people, like, you can rape anybody. I mean, just because it's your wife doesn't mean you didn't take it or something. But to me, if you have at some point had consensual sex with somebody and somebody you've already slept with, come on, like, what are we really talking about when we get into rape? Like, I'm not really going for that. You know what I'm saying? I am not necessarily a believer in that. And I'm not saying that somebody cannot, you don't want it that night. You ain't in the mood. And he getting on into it anyway. I almost feel like, let me think of a better way to explain this. I almost feel like rape is when, or it's better described as when you you sexually do not want to be with that person, have never been with that person. can we discuss if there's a line to distinguish between not wanting to do something at a time and then being forced to do something with somebody that you've just never done anything with, you don't want to do anything with, you don't want to have any sort of sexual attachment to. And I think that's why it's difficult if you're in a marriage probably to prove. I heard this a while ago because there's been a few cases, there's been a few instances where this has happened. I'm sure more than a few. This probably happens if we're going by the definition of I said no and you went ahead anyway, then I'm sure a lot of wives have been raped. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I said it was difficult. They used to talk about how it's difficult to prove that in situations of marriage, right? Because this is somebody that, you break that, what do they call it? Is it called the communal bed, the conjugal bed? Like that's before all of this legal stuff came up with marriage and stuff like that. If you want to go back in the day before modern times, marriage really is a couple being recognized by the community and kind of sanctifying that in, why am I forgetting my words right now? It's kind of late. Sanctifying that and kind of solidifying that with that sexual bond, with that communal bond, like laying in the marriage bed. You know what I'm saying? So I know these days we think of marriage in terms of legalities and all of that kind of stuff, but you got to think of stuff kind of more basic. So that's what I'm saying. It's unfortunate. Wait a minute, y'all. Let me spray my hair. Oh, I should put the Lotta Body on it first. Oh, this is a leave-in conditioner. That's why I ain't been doing nothing. I ain't spraying the leave-in conditioner. Not even the settings. Oh, I'm stupid sometimes. I didn't realize that was leave-in conditioner. I needed the setting lotion, which I got the bottle of the setting lotion. It's just not the spray bottle. So I gotta find a spray bottle. Give me a second. Like y'all care. Y'all don't care, but y'all didn't listen. I'm gonna pour this other stuff out. What's this? Has peach lemonade 3-in-1 conditioner spray. It ain't worth shit. Let me pour this out. So I don't want to wake everybody in here up. Anyway, so what was I saying? It's unfortunate that's his fiance, because who knows? And then it's not your wife. I don't know if they've had sex before, if they, you know what I'm saying, whatever the case, because it's difficult. It gets tricky if that's the first time they've ever done anything, which we don't know because they under the guise of religion. But we all know people in religion, outside of religion, everybody is F-U-C-K-I-N-G. You get what I'm saying? So I don't, it doesn't matter to me with them being Muslim or nothing. We don't know if they was fucking. You know what I'm saying? They could have already been having sex. So if that was their very first time, then that would make me really look at Rizza's character a little bit more harshly. Now, again, let's take it back. This is an astrology channel. It's an everything channel. It's not just an astrology channel. It's an everything. Oh, let me turn the water off so y'all can hear me. It's an everything channel. So, like I said, Pisces, the mutable signs, I'm telling y'all, I'm going to put the little thing in this post, but I'm sure y'all have heard it before, where they said, they show a whole list of serial killers and they're all mutable signs. Not to say there's not other ones of other signs, but who knows? Maybe the mutable signs are strong somewhere else in their chart. But, you know, Pisces is one of them signs they can get turned up. Like, you know, I joke with a friend all the time because I say, you know, a lot of times people will take the water sign men, so your Cancer, your Pisces, your Scorpio. I don't think they do it to Scorpio as much. If so, it's probably because Scorpio is a little bit more cornier when they're younger to me. Scorpio is the most square one out of the three signs to me. Scorpio and Pisces are really square. Cancer is square too, but like Scorpio and Pisces just come off really square to me, especially in their younger years. But anyway, Pisces all through their life. But Pisces is like probably the most ratchet one. But anyway, so Pisces can get ratchet. And I always joke with a friend, you know, people may observe some Pisces guys, observe how they dress, observe if, you know, feminine pieces of their nature that may be more obvious than, say, a fire sign or, my roller needs to be tighter, a fire sign or an air sign or something like that. But a Pisces will beat your ass in the ground, period. You know what I'm saying? Like, my girlfriend used to be married to a Pisces, and you look at either one of them wrong, and he just gonna straight up knock you out. And that's just how I go. So, you don't want to underestimate a Pisces. And that's why it doesn't matter. Like, you see Rizza and he looks so nice and he looks so whatever. But this is why they need to trash the school curriculum and start teaching y'all something that matters, which is astrology. Like, it need to be Harry Potter schools, but you could just call them Madam X frequency radio schools. That's better, because who the hell is Harry Potter? But anyway, and teach y'all something you really can use in life. Because if you know a person's sign and their chart, the bigger picture, then you kind of get you know like what they're capable of and what's in their character makeup. That's not to say they're going to do those things, because you're made up of a whole bunch of other things besides just your sun sign, which is the zodiac signs that people are familiar with. But you're made up of so much more. But you at least know somebody's base character profile. So I always know. I don't never see no Pisces and think a Pisces is what I see, because Pisces is the very one. It's the fish swimming in two different directions. It's the very one that always got something going on more than meets the eye. I don't trust a Pisces as far as I can throw them, y'all. But they're good people. As my fellow water sign brethren. So I do love Pisces. Don't get that mixed up in any sort of way. Me, myself, I have a most hated Pisces moon. I love it, but y'all hate it. I have a Pisces moon, so, I can't say that I get it all the time because I'm a Cancer, so a lot of it is similar anyway. So, with Rizza, it's just unfortunate that that's the fiance. I mean, he could have at least waited till they got married. Then nobody would have cared. You know what I'm saying? But right now, it make you look bad, because it's the fiance. But then at the same time, like I said, I appreciate how Farrakhan handled that. Wait a minute, y'all. Spray some washing. Oh, the top came off. I appreciate how Farrakhan handled it, because there is some responsibility to be taken by the woman as well. If you are not married, or if that's what you were waiting for, and if you did not want to have any intimate relations with him, it sounds like Farrakhan had the inside scoop. He in her house, he in the bed. Things like that shouldn't be happening. At the end of the day, should the man still be able to control himself and have discipline? Yes. But should the woman be wise enough to know better? Yes. So, it is what it is. If you haven't heard it, go back and listen to what Farrakhan had said about it. And now moving on to the last but not least, Jeffrey Dahmer. So the only reason I'm even talking about this is because it is so funny and so appropriate how he has turned into like this generation's coolest killer ever. And it's like he's turned into this generation's coolest killer. And with him being a Gemini, I guess that's not so surprising, right? I do think Gemini is like the coolest sign. They're the most on trend in the streets. All that kind of stuff. Like, Gemini is an air sign. They're of the people. They know what's popping. Like Aquarius and Libra do. Like, they're just of the people. They're a cool sign. You see how the gazelles, aviators, gazelles, I guess it just matters what picture you're looking at of the real Dahmer and which movie you're watching, whether he had on gazelles or aviators. But y'all know I'm always ahead of the Cancers are always ahead of the trend. We always peak stuff, and by the time we done it and we through with it, y'all get it. You know what I'm saying? But we just had that foresight, because aviators and gazelles are like my favorite shades. I rock them just on a general. As a matter of fact, before I was even aware there was a Dahmer movie, because I had not logged into Netflix and I don't really watch TV like that or really be on YouTube like that, which is why I'm not but so consistent with my page. It's a video that I have, if you go like a week or so back, where I had on the Jeffrey Dahmers, because I've been rocking them in real life. You know what I'm saying? It's nothing but aviators and gazelles. That's what Dahmer used to wear. The real Dahmer and the characters in the movie. So, I was already on that when I did that video on here. And I've been wearing them for years, because just how my face is shaped. I'm a Cancer, I have a round face. aviators and gazelles look the best on my face. So I usually don't even buy shades if they aren't aviators and gazelles. And I prefer the big ones because they do come in like smaller versions, smaller aviators and stuff too. And it's so funny. I went on camera on this channel the first time in a long, I'm cleaning up, y'all, so chill out. The first time, if it sounds like I'm moving around too much, mind your business. I went, on video on this camera the first time in a long time, and I had on the Jeffrey Dahmers, you know what I'm saying? So, and I didn't even know about the movie. So then I was sitting here, and I hadn't heard about it, but I was sitting here maybe like the end of last week, and I had turned on Netflix in my basement. We was down there watching something, and I saw Dahmer, and I said to myself, why the hell are they doing another freaking Dahmer movie? Like, how many Dahmer movies are they gonna do? I'm an 80s baby, so although I was too young when all the Dahmer stuff happened, I definitely remember it probably as I got into my 20s and stuff and read about it because I love scary movies and stuff like that. And I like, my favorite pastime used to be to read. Like, people thought going to the club was fun, and I thought reading a 500 page book in 24 hours was fun. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I got an overload of shit in my head now. But anyways, so I had already looked at the Dahmer movies. As a matter of fact, the Dahmer movies I saw, the most recent, were probably like about less than 5 years ago. So it has been a constant thing that they've done on movie channels, Netflix, whatever. So there have been other Dahmer movies. And as a matter of fact, the last Dahmer movie, this had to be like maybe 3 or 4 years ago they made it. I watched it several times. So I was like, man, I'm not watching another Dahmer movie. Plus, I've read about Dahmer. I've seen, the videos about Dahmer. I'm like, why the fuck are they doing another Dahmer movie? I'm so uninterested. But you know how if you don't change your channel, Netflix or whatever station you're watching, if you have like a smart TV or newer TV, it'll start playing previews of like whatever you have it sitting on. So Dahmer was the first movie it was like showing when I went in Netflix. So I had just turned the TV. I just turned it on, but I didn't scroll or nothing. So it was sitting on Dahmer. And then the preview started to play, and it was Niecy Nash. That's how they got me. Because I was like, oh, Niecy Nash is in this? Is this Dahmer? Like, I went back again. I was like, this is Dahmer? Niecy Nash is in it? Because none of the movies before was there like a huge presence of black people. I don't even know if I remember black people, although most of his victims black? I don't even remember seeing black people in those movies. It's been a while though, y'all. But not to the level of them being the leads like Niecy Nash was. So I kind of picked up the remote and hit it again. And I was like, oh, this is Dahmer. And I was like, man, I might have to watch that with Niecy Nash. But I didn't watch it that night. So the next day, one of my girlfriends was like, girl, everybody talking about this Dahmer movie, won't. And I said, oh, that's funny, because I had just saw the preview on Netflix, and I was saying to myself, man, I don't want to see another Dahmer movie. But when I saw Niecy Nash, it piqued my interest. And she was like, yeah, people are saying it's good. So y'all, I watched the first episode, which was really good. And I watched the second episode, which was good too. And I haven't made it through the whole thing, but I'm going to finish watching it. But it's interesting. It just goes to show the psychology of people. Again, he was a Gemini. So what's really funny is Gemini is one of those signs that are social. They like people around. And it seems like some of the psychology of what was going on with Dahmer is like he didn't want to be alone. I mean, of course, there was something off in the mind. And I think that's as far as astrology goes, it seems to be common to me in signs that have issues with their Mercury or have issues in their chart when it comes to the signs that Mercury rules. So like the Virgo and the Gemini. So it could set a person up for mental issues, and then just how he was raised, the things he went through. In one of the other movies, so like one of the last movies they made, they focused on the father a little bit more and kind of shifted that blame to the father, and they touched on it in this movie. But one thing I automatically thought when I saw his father sitting in the interrogation room, like at the end of episode 1 or episode 2, was like they're trying to like make this man seem like some super gentle, kind man, and that just was not the impression I got from the previous Dahmer movie I had watched. Like, I don't recall everything that happened because this was years ago, but I just recall coming away from that movie, like, not having the best feelings about the dad and putting a lot of that blame on the dad. So I kind of didn't like that on this one. It was making the dad seem like some innocent white guy, which was not the case. But yeah, it's interesting. The gazelles and the aviators been Poppington. Don't y'all all jump on it now, because one thing I hate is to walk around and see everybody doing stuff I've been doing and that I'm doing. So I don't need a bunch of y'all out here with gazelles and aviators on. Don't need it. Don't need it and don't want it. And the thing with race and all this and all that, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, besides any kids, underage people that he killed, the 14-year-olds or whatever, when you out here and you're just putting yourself in certain situations, it's almost like people walk willingly into his trap for whatever reasons. If they thought that, they were going to be able to skyrocket to some higher position in life because of this white man, if they were just attracted to this white man, I don't know what it was, but a lot of people walked into that Dahmer trap. So, I definitely don't want to hear like no BS about, oh, we should ban a Dahmer movie or black people should be against it or whatever. For what? It's real life. Black people kill black people every day. Let's start there. Start some banning there. Don't ban my entertainment because y'all don't like it when another race doing it, but you don't have no care or value for your own race. Like, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. And you got to be stupid to think like that. Watching Dahmer, thinking the shades are cool or whatever the case, has nothing to do with the fact of the color of people that he killed. That was him. That was him in his mind and what he did. We are just watching the real facts and the real occurrences of what happened. So it doesn't, and that's life. And you shouldn't have to boycott certain pieces of life or not watch it. People need to know what the truths are so that you can be conscious and aware of what the fuck is going on out here. Because the world will eat you up like a shark if you're not. So watch it, see what you think about it. It's not so good to where I just can't turn it off, because I started watching it like maybe it was the next day after the end of last week when I saw it on my own. Then my girlfriend told me it was good. So I probably started watching it like Friday or Saturday or something. And here is about to be a week later, and I'm not past the second episode. And I've probably watched the first and the second episode, like rewinded it back and had to play it 2 or 3 times because I wasn't fully paying attention. Because like I said, I've been there. I done seen the Dahmer story several times over, but this is just telling it from a different angle and perspective because it's a different person doing this particular docuseries or whatever they're calling it. So dramatization of real life events, I don't freaking know. So it's not so good to where I can't take my eyes off the screen. But I'm gonna go and try to get into episode 3 and keep it pushing. I think I'll rewind back to like the last few minutes of the second episode, and then I'm gonna try to get through the rest more timely and actually pay attention. So yeah, that's all I wanted to talk about, and that's it, and that's all, and I'm gone. Bye.